I quit as a professional athlete 2 years ago, and the question that everyone always asks me is, do I regret it? So I'm going to take you on my journey through my life as a professional sports person to 2 years later on to answer the question once and for all, was it the wrong decision? It's something I haven't even shared with my family, and to be honest, I find it quite embarrassing to do it. And the only way I feel comfortable with actually sharing this story is by doing it through a camera so that they can watch this themselves without me having to be in the room with them. Now, this isn't asking you to feel sorry for me. I've lived an amazing life, I've been incredibly lucky and privileged, and I'm forever grateful for all those opportunities. But I do want to take you on my thoughts and feelings throughout my entire journey from start to finish and where that's left me now. For the first 15 years of my adult life, from 13 to 28, motorbike racing wasn't only my passion, but it was my identity too. I was born into a racing family, my dad used to compete, and now my brother still races in the World Superbike Championship. Every time I went to the gym, to the physio, to the hospital, to airports, hotels, racetracks, it pushed me to the ultimate limit of my body and mind. But I always knew deep down one day the adrenaline flowing through my body would come to an end. I just didn't know when. Whether that meant I was going to finish on the top of the pile, the bottom of the pile, or end my career with an injury, I really didn't know. Professional sport is a career that you take knowing full well that you're going to have to sacrifice your entire life for it without actually knowing if you're ever going to make a career from it. The hardest part of walking away from professional sport hasn't been what you think it would be. It's not the highs and lows, it's not traveling the world, it's not racing motorbikes. To me, it's losing the routine and structure that my life followed religiously for 15 years. Therefore, we need to travel back in time to the last 15 years of my life when I was racing motorbikes every single year. January the 1st would arrive, I'd be full of optimism, my training would commence, and for all of January, February and March, I'd have a super strict diet, I'd train 6 times a week, sometimes twice a day, and I always weighed around 64 kilos or 10 stone. March came upon us and the pre-season testing would start. We'd travel to Spain where we get to ride the bike for a week. April, the first race would arrive, and May was the first time in the year where I'd get an actual break and prepare myself for the second part of the season. If the year was going well, by August I'd be concentrating on trying to win a championship, and if it was going badly, I'd be panicking about losing my job for the following year. That terror would unfortunately follow me all through September, October, November, and sometimes into December, and the worst year ever, January, where I still didn't have a ride for the following season. October was probably the earliest I ever signed for a team for the following year, and that also kicked off my annual blowout. After a year of training hard and working hard and eating strictly, when it got to October, I really let loose. I ate what I wanted, I drank what I wanted, and that got me through all of October, November and December before it would all commence again on January the 1st. I lived that exact cycle for 15 years, and in amongst all of that was numerous injuries. I knocked myself out a few times, I broke my shoulder, I dislocated my shoulder, I broke my leg, I tore my MCL ligament, I broke my knuckles, I broke my collarbone, I broke my foot, I broke my toes. But there was also triumphs amongst all of that. I had some race wins, lap records and a championship to my name by 2021. One of my career highlights was starting a race from the back of the grid and getting all the way to the front and winning it. And it was that exact moment that I announced my retirement from the sport. It came as a shock to a lot of people. It was the last thing they were expecting me to say, having just had one of the best races of my life. I've actually spoke to the team on Thursday and I'm actually going to retire at the end of this year. So I wanted to go out with a bang. And yeah, I can ride a bike. Despite that, leaving the track was both liberating and daunting at the same time. I faced the dark unknown of having absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I'd spent 15 years living, breathing and eating motorbike racing, and it's all my family knows as well. I had no college certificate and no university degree, as at the time when everyone was going off to uni, I was pursuing my dream of becoming a professional motorcycle racer. So the only qualification I had was the University of Life, living in a dog-eat-dog world for 15 years and acquiring all the life skills that came along with it. So when I eventually stopped in the October 2021, my annual blowout from October to December rolled straight into January. I had no focus, no passion. I'd had this constant cloud over me for 15 years that I believed whatever I was doing could potentially have a negative impact on my racing. Whether that was drinking an alcoholic drink, eating a pizza, eating a pudding, All of it was constantly being questioned by myself and giving me this constant fear over everything that I did. Therefore, when October 2021 rolled round and it was my first season of having a blowout with nothing to think about the year after, it was like an elastic band snapping in my life. No one could tell me what to do, and I had nothing to focus on or reason to train when it got to January the 1st. In just 2 months, I put on 10 kilos. I went from 64 kilos to 74 kilos, and I really couldn't believe I put on so much weight in such a short space of time. I'd never been that weight in my life, and I'd always watched professional athletes that gained weight after their careers finished, and I never understood why. I didn't understand why a professional athlete that spent their whole life training and being obsessed with fitness and diet could ever let themselves be bigger than the size they were when they competed. And it was at this point I realised exactly how that happens. This elastic band that had snapped, it was like such a relief for me. The constant mental torture you feel as a professional athlete was like a weight being lifted. And I found it really hard to adjust to living a more normal life. Now, before I go any further, I just want to point out again, this is not me complaining, this is just me talking about my life and my experience of being a professional athlete. Because not only is the physical side of sport difficult, the mental side is also something that I found very difficult too. Despite being a happy-go-lucky person, I'll happily admit that 2 times in my life I had depression quite badly. 2018 and 2021, I visited the doctors to try and understand what was going on inside my brain. And I also had crippling stomach issues that only people around me knew about. I apparently became allergic to eggs, blueberries, almonds, peanut butter, bananas, tomatoes, onions, garlic, the list goes on. It was a strange thing to develop and something at the time that I didn't understand at all. I'll apologise now if you're eating your dinner, but as part of that, I also nearly threw up in my helmet a few times whilst I was racing, and I also at points couldn't go to the toilet for up to a week at a time. Now, this next section of the video is something I haven't even shared with my family, and to be honest, I find it quite embarrassing to do it. And the only way I feel comfortable with actually sharing this story is by doing it through a camera so that they can watch this themselves without me having to be in the room with them. But at the time of my racing, when I was finding it very difficult and I wanted to stop, I also knew that when I stopped racing, I was going to look back at my racing career and probably not understand why I ever quit. So at the time, I wrote notes in my phone to keep track of how I was feeling. And it's only 2 years later I've been able to look back at these notes and, to be honest, laugh at them now, but at the time kind of remember exactly how I felt. And these are the notes. 2018 Snetterton is pit lane walkabout and people are asking for autographs. I've just had a panic attack, but I didn't want anyone to know, so I've just ran back to the camper van and hid. Snetterton morning warm-up 2018. I've just held sick in my mouth the whole way down the back straight. Donington Park. I'm sat in pure dread on my own on the inside of the camper right now, but no one knows how I'm feeling because on the outside I just smile every time someone looks. Donington Park, warm-up's done, I finished third and felt better because I was so angry with the bike, which sort of got rid of some of the depression I'm feeling. Now it's the race and all I'm thinking about is having my weekends back and not putting myself through this mental torture anymore. Friday it's rained and I have occasional thoughts that I'm going to miss racing on a sunny day, but on the whole I know the negatives and stress this is causing my body far outweigh the good days of racing that I've had. Once I'd stopped racing, I found it difficult to find a purpose or reason to do anything when I'd lost my passion for something that I'd loved for 15 years. When you're an athlete, all you're thinking about is the next race, the next championship, the next job you're going to get, the next level of racing you want to reach. And it's very easy to focus your life and focus your energy and thoughts onto that. But just as I was at the point of questioning my decision and wondering if I'd done the right thing with my life, retiring from racing, something amazing happened. I accidentally ate eggs and nothing happened. So the next day I tried garlic, blueberries, peanut butter, almonds, bananas, tomatoes, and nothing happened, which was when my appetite came back and suddenly I realised my body was slowly repairing. I'd got into a habit of waking up feeling depressed, so I'd force myself to go to the gym because I knew I needed to go in the gym, which sort of eased the symptoms of depression and the issues that I was experiencing. But at the same time, it only ever felt like I was wafting away the smoke and the fire inside me that was causing all these problems was still fully lit and still there. But all of a sudden, I caught myself waking up feeling normal. I didn't exactly feel happy, but I also didn't feel sad anymore. and I was definitely without any anxiety, and I'd completely got rid of a nightly panic attack that I had religiously before I went to sleep. People will mock you on the internet for being a man and talking about mental health, and for people that have never lived it or experienced it, I totally understand, because I was also that person. Before 2018, before ever experiencing depression and anxiety and panic attacks, I didn't understand why people don't just cheer up. Especially someone like me, I've got a lot to be happy for, a lot of things are going good in my life, and I didn't understand why someone could be depressed in that situation. It was only when I experienced it for myself and I realised just how much it can change you as a person and how you don't feel in control of it at the time when it's happening to you, that I completely looked at mental health in a different way. And that's why I'm happy to sit here and take abuse on the internet and have people laugh and joke about it, if it means that it helps at least one person watching this video. So it was time for me to rediscover myself as a person. I was no longer a motorbike racer, and I needed to figure out exactly what I was going to do with my life. Without any real plan for work or life, I just began to say yes to absolutely everything. Do you want to manage a team? Yes. Do you want to go to a festival? Yes. Do you want to drink? Do you want to eat? Do you want to go skiing? Do you want to go on holiday? Do you want to do public speaking? Do you want to go trials riding? I just started to experience so many things that I'd never done whilst racing motorbikes, because I was always nervous of the impact that that was going to have on my racing career at the time. I started this hamster wheel of trying new experiences, and to be honest, nothing actually felt like it resonated exactly like racing a motorbike did. But I was grateful for all these opportunities and new life experiences that I was having. But what was cool was I was able to take everyone on the journey with me through this YouTube channel. And that's when I decided to take the next big risk in my life. 2 years in to a stable and secure job in the Moto3 Championship, working as a team manager, traveling the world with a MotoGP Championship. It was the dream opportunity for me when I first stopped racing, but now I've realised it's not my passion and it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So now is the right time for me to walk away and risk everything by taking the leap from professional sport to managing a team to now making videos on the internet. I've realised in all of this, the one thing that has never left me from being a kid is making videos. I've always enjoyed doing it. Whether I was videoing myself in the back garden, getting a quad on 2 wheels, or jumping a motocross bike, or making funny videos, that is something I've always enjoyed, and I've realised alongside motorbike racing and motorsport, that is also my other real passion. And I've no idea if this is actually going to work. This channel currently only makes enough money to cover the video editing, but because it's my passion and it's something I enjoy doing, I make the videos anyway for everyone to watch at home. But you're only on this planet once, and I'm willing to take the risk and invest in myself in the hope that you guys will come along on the journey with me and watch these videos. And it's only with time over the last 2 years that I've had a chance to reflect on what I've done with this channel and with making video content in my life. In that, when I first started this channel, all I ever wanted to do was get to 1,000 subscribers, and then 10,000, then 25,000, and now we're at 41,000. I only ever wanted 1,000 views, and now this channel has had over 5 million views, which I never ever expected or imagined would happen. It's also led me to get jobs with TNT Sports and Eurosport over the last 2 years, and traveling the world with the MotoGP Championship also made me realise how far and wide these videos go, from India to Australia, America, Argentina. It's bizarre, and to be honest, I still don't really believe it's real that so many people watch these videos from so many different parts of the world. And only by stopping racing have I actually been able to reach a lot more people than I ever would have racing in the Superstock Championship. I've realised making videos gives me that rhythm and routine and structure that I crave in my life, but it also means I'm my own boss, and I'm a lot more in charge of my own mental health and things that I'm feeling and doing, and opportunities that I want to take along the way. So 2 years on, to answer the question finally, do I regret retiring from motorbike racing and professional sport? The answer is honestly no. I don't think I'll ever get away from the fact that winning a race is an amazing feeling, and winning a championship is an even more amazing feeling. But the positives for me, being healthier both physically and mentally, having a normal stomach that I can eat normal meals and be a normal weight day to day, far outweigh the pure ecstasy that you receive every now and again by winning a race. Also, by stopping racing, I've experienced so many things in 2 years that I never would have had the chance to do if I was still racing at this time, which I'm also incredibly grateful for. But one thing I do know in all of this is my story that I've just taken you on for the last 15 years is not unique. Every sports person I know and have become friends with have got their own physical and mental battle that they've experienced throughout their careers. And what I want to do with this channel is continue to travel the world and experience new things and meet all of these people and tell these amazing stories with all these people that I know. I've also been given an amazing opportunity to travel with my brother next season in the World Superbike Championship to assist him for the entire year, which I'm thrilled about. World Superbikes is a much easier calendar than MotoGP. There's only 12 rounds and 11 of them are just European races, which will give me far more time at home to create more content, but also mean that I'm still involved in racing and paddocks, and I'll be meeting a lot of people along the way with more stories that I can tell you. Life after racing wasn't ever about abandoning my passion and never visiting it ever again. It was about embracing new passions and new experiences and sharing my story along the way with a much wider community of motorsport enthusiasts around the world. And so as I continue this journey, exploring new places and riding new motorbikes and teaching you all about it, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, as it's a journey that's going to have a lot more twists and turns yet, I'm sure, but it will be the ride of a lifetime. T-Mac out.